Destroyer features one of our most advanced saturation algorithms. It's designed to be extremely flexible, getting everything from subtle analog style saturation all the way to complete chaos. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use it to get both of those effects and everything in between. Destroyer is one of the best saturators to use on melodic material, and there's a few reasons for that. Let me show it to you on this track I'm working on. So when we pull it up, the first thing we notice is this giant amount knob. And this is basically how hard we're driving the analog modeled saturation circuit. And what's special about this is the range we get. We go from subtle, barely saturating the signal, all the way to complete destruction. And you'll notice it has auto gain built in, and that makes it really easy to find the sweet spot and hear exactly what the saturation is doing. We have 3 different saturation circuits to choose from, and each one of these is going to have a different tone. Circuit B is probably my favorite on this melody, but it's always a good idea to try them out because they're going to react differently depending on what source material you're giving it. Now, where things get really crazy is with the destroy button. You can hear it's really distorted and broken up, but it's still very smooth. And that's one of the things that you don't get out of most saturations. They sound crunchy, but not smooth. And that's where Destroyer really stands out. Of course, we've got a parallel mix knob right here, easy to dial in a little bit of dry signal. And a tone knob to adjust the color of the harmonics, either darker or brighter. The bump and resonance filters in Destroyer can create some of my favorite saturation effects really fast. They're applied to the saturation curve itself, and let me show you what we can do with that. So you can hear why this is one of my favorite effects on melodies like this. It just creates that crisp, polished tone. It's super crunchy and saturated, but it's also incredibly smooth. And we actually have another full crazy chain on this track. I was just pulling this other one up to show you Destroyer by itself, but just take a listen before and after both of these Blockchain Ultra chains on this track. So we literally took a single note electric piano melody and turned it into this entire atmospheric pad using only the processors in Blockchain Ultra. Destroyer is one of my favorite saturation tools for drums, especially if you want your transients to stay punchy. Now there's a trick I want to show you for using saturation to instantly tighten your kicks and subs and make them hit even harder. And it's super easy to dial in with Destroyer. So here's a drum chain I'm building in Blockchain Ultra. But we're going to take it to the next level with Destroyer. Now the trick is to find the sweet spot with this bump filter. And we want to find the spot where the kick tightens up and everything feels punchier in the low end. I'm going to give it some drive here. So you can hear how the kick instantly gets punchier when we have the filter set here with bump on. Now I'm going to dial the rest in. I'll probably raise the filter here and maybe adjust the amount. We're reshaping the kick with this saturation, and it's really helpful to do this whenever you're trying to pair your kick with an 808 or sub bass, because a lot of times if you're using EQ or compression or side chaining, it can sound unnatural and you can lose a lot of punch in the low end. But if you're doing it with saturation like this with Destroyer, it can instantly tighten up the subs in the kick, it can let that 808 breathe, and it can keep everything insanely punchy. Destroyer is an amazing tool for 808s because it lets you just saturate the frequencies that you want, not the entire spectrum. So let me show you why that's helpful on bass or 808s. So if you've got an 808 that doesn't have a lot of higher harmonic content, and most do not, even this one, which has more than most, it's still not a lot of higher harmonics. It's probably not going to cut through on smaller speakers. So one of the best ways to fix that is with saturation. And this is going to bring out some of those higher harmonics. It's going to help it cut through on smaller speakers, and it's going to help the 808 sound bigger in the mix. And one of the reasons I like using Destroyer for this is because we can really fine tune where the saturation is occurring in the frequency spectrum. So you can hear how it's getting kind of fizzy like that. If we just adjust these filters, we can fine tune it to be just in the low mids, for example. And once we like where that saturation is sitting, now we can blend it in parallel and just bring in as much as we need. So just that little bit of extra harmonic content is going to really help this cut through on smaller systems. So we're using it pretty tastefully here, but of course you can go all out with crazy 808 distortion if you want. So you can hear how we're playing around with it on this 808, and we're already getting so many different tones. It just depends on which creative direction you want to take the track in. So that's Destroyer. It's an insanely powerful and pleasant sounding saturation tool, but it can also create some incredibly dirty and grungy distortions if you push it hard. And that versatility, being able to get everything from subtle analog style saturation all the way to completely obliterating your signal and everything in between, it's one of my favorite things about this algorithm. Destroyer is included in both Blockchain and Blockchain Ultra, so you can use it in combination with other modules and get even more creative with it when you're building your chains. Let us know in the comments how you're using Destroyer and what modules you'd like us to dig into next. Just about every module in Blockchain Ultra is insanely deep like this. There's just so much you can dig into with these algorithms. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe for more tutorials like this. And as always, happy music making.